Yo, 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 yo. What's crack-a-lackin'? What's up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? Tuesday, July 14th, 10:15 a.m. here in cold but sunny Sydney, Australia. Wherever you are in the world tuning in, I say welcome. I also say thank you. If you haven't already subscribed, do that for me as you check in on this live stream, or if you watch this later on our podcast playlist. Hit the like button, comment below any questions you may have for the upcoming fights this week and weekend. There is a fight card today. So, what I think I'm going to do today with the boys on the live stream is I might give you a pick. I don't know. It's an 8-rounder. These guys, one guy is I think 9-0, one guy's like 11-2. Japanese. Just for the sake of watching boxing tonight, I might do a little DGen money line. We'll go over that fight. The big fights are this weekend. Check the playlist section on my YouTube channel, Fight Predictions. I just uploaded our first Stats Don't Lie video breakdown, prediction, analysis of Diego Pacheco versus Immanuwel Aleem. Watch that, comment it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Tell me what you think of the video. Do all that good stuff. Pinned right there, the comment section. Join our Johnny Says Boxing VIP Discord. You join here now on YouTube. It's a couple bucks a month. You get all my picks, all my bets. More importantly, you become part of our growing community this coming August. So in a couple weeks will be our 1-year anniversary. We are turning 1 year old in a few weeks. So it's a big milestone for the team and our community. We're approaching 550 VIPs. And I'm really excited about the next year coming. So join us either here or on Patreon. Click the link. I'll see what the boys are doing. We're going to go over the odds. I'm going to say what's up to everyone first. Lot to talk about. The shirts are coming in. I can't wait till I get mine. We up. Yeah, man. We up for sure. We're doing it. We had a great weekend. We've had a great 3 weeks. We had 2 bad weeks like 5 weeks ago. But we're leaving here with something. We always say that. We up is a great catchphrase for us. Let them know is another catchphrase that we use. But we're leaving here with something is another one. And I think that holds true regarding we don't need main event pay-per-view action to hit. We hit 4 out of 5 last weekend on a slow week. 4 out of 5 tickets hit. We definitely up. We're in a good spot. I'm very grateful. So let me know any questions you guys have. The best part about our community is that we don't have to agree. We can disagree. That's why we consistently win. This is the part of the week where we're riffing. We're doing film study. You guys should be watching your tape if you are film studiers. If you take it that serious, do that. And then probably I've already given you 2 tickets. So guys, check the members only section right now and check the Patreon VIP list, including our quarterly parlay and our July and August parlay. You guys have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 tickets that are live. Our quarterly parlay, we're already 5 fights in. 5 have hit. We have 7 left. That's paying plus 538. Our July-August parlay starts this week. That pays plus 851. I just gave you my knockout prop of the weekend. It's live on Patreon and YouTube. And I gave you my UFC dog of the week. That's live on Patreon and YouTube. And then I got a little bit of a double method of victory double that I really like. I'm really tempted taking David Popo on points at plus 187. And if you take David Popo on points at plus 187 and Andy Cruz by knockout, that double pays plus 364. So I'm thinking about pulling the trigger on that. I'll let you guys know. David Popo's hands down the better boxer. It's boxing. It's not track and field. Harlem Eubank is a guy who picked up the gloves late. He's an athlete. You can see that. David Popo, I feel, is going to box his ears off. I don't even think that this fight might not even be close. So I'm very close to jumping on Popo on points. I'll let you guys know if I do that. Obviously, you'll be the first to know. Any prediction on the Japanese card? We'll get there in a second. Brandon, let's get it. Let's start a parlay with the fights happening in 6 hours. Yeah, we'll get it. Sal Sanchez is on upset alert. I haven't looked at that fight yet. Anton knockout. My man Julius is giving it all away. Just giving it all away. Just keep giving it to us, boys. Keep giving it to us. Distance on both Iwata and Kenshiro. There you go. Are you taking notes? Julius, the sniper, is just giving it all away. He's putting it all on the table. He's letting it all hang out, and he's saying, hey, boys, for the JSB insiders, for you guys, I'm going to give you everything. And we thank you, Julius. Youngin in the house. What's up, Moonshot? Barry Tapia. It's hard to see Pacheco stopping anyone. His lack of a second gear kills me. Yeah, you say that now. We only say that because what have you done for me lately, right? We know what he looked like against Sajo. Sajo's a tank. We know what he looked like against McCumbee. I think there's an argument to say that McCumbee is probably a little bit better than people give him credit for. He has had head scratching outcomes lately. Only because I don't know if I got to be honest. Because I bet and because we bet, and I personally have lost on Diego Pacheco the last 2 fights because I've taken Pacheco to win by knockout in his last 2 fights, and he's won on points. So I don't know how I would feel about his last few performances if I was just a fan and not a bettor. So I'm being kind of hard on him. I think his last few sort of fights were a little bit like disinterested. To me, it looks like he needs a change. Well, ask and thou shalt receive. We know that he left Jose Benavidez Sr. We know that he was getting homesick too. It wasn't like people knew that he was talking about wanting to go back to LA. He's an LA kid. He was training in the Pacific Northwest, and now he's linked up with Buddy McGirt. I absolutely love that link up for him specifically. And here's why. McGirt is a Hall of Fame trainer. He was a 2-time champion himself as a fighter. We know about his work with Arturo Gatti. Diego Pacheco, when you think about where he fights, which weight class at 168 pounds, 168 pounds is historically a grown-ass man division. Now, Diego Pacheco also, resume speaking, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody at 168 right now with a better resume. He's undefeated. He's managed to maneuver through it. He's only 25 years old. 6'4", 79-inch reach. He's fighting a guy who's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. I guarantee McGirt is going to have a great game plan. More importantly, Buddy McGirt will have Diego Pacheco inspired. What he really does as a coach is he's able to bring out the things that the fighter already does really well, and he allows those things to flourish. I expect a leveling up of Diego Pacheco. It's a 12-round fight. This kid has a high knockout to win ratio. He stopped Manny Gallegos. He stopped Jack Cullen. The guy has it in him. I expect his conditioning to be a level above. I expect his game plan to be more clear rather than sort of like, in his last few fights from a executionary game plan perspective, you're kind of like, what is Diego's game plan? That was my biggest issue with his last few fights. That's why I love the move with Buddy McGirt. Also, great body puncher. He likes to fight in close. Immanuwel Aleem will give him that fight. Immanuwel Aleem is going to fight. He's kind of like a similar version of Kevin Sajo, just not as sort of physically imposing. Now, what does Immanuwel Aleem do really well? He's going to be on the front foot. He's going to put a pace. He's going to put pressure. He's going to be there the entire time. Immanuwel Aleem, you better show up every round. Diego's going to have to be switched on. I like the knockout. I think Pacheco's going to knock him out late. I think it's going to be the body work and then uppercuts. So I'm playing Diego Pacheco by knockout, get back to his knockout winning ways. The 9-inch reach advantage, the 7-inch height advantage, I feel that McGirt will have him using those advantages. It's similar to when we were watching Seb Fundora over the last few years. You're watching a kid in Fundora who is finally using his height, finally using his reach, finally using his God-given gifts, his size and physicality to suit his style. And the animal that Seb Fundora is becoming, punch-wise, punch placement, decision-making-wise, I totally expect similar levels in Pacheco. He's just as good as an athlete. younger, and I think he's talented enough to do it. I have high hopes for Diego Pacheco. I have not written him off yet, especially only being 25 years old. I'm leaning on the fact that we're going to, with the coaching change, sort of reemergence of energy and a refocused kind of fresh start. I think he makes it look easy. I got to be honest with you. So that's my take. If anything, I'd be betting on Errol. What's up, Johnny? Ah. Yeah, that's an OG. Ah. Popo TKO is only plus 250. Crazy how low compared to some other boxers I've seen. I've already taken Popo on points with Berlanga TKO. Hey, we're seeing eye to eye, brother. So yeah, all right, good. I got Popo on points. I think he makes it look easy against Harlem. Law Moonshot in the process of making it at the moment. Let's go. Javona. What do you think is the stronger parlay piece? Aaron McKenna. So it's a good question. Let's look at those real quick. I do have McKenna and Pierce O'Leary on my quarterly parlay. I put that in 3 weeks ago. Let's see what the odds are paying now. Yeah, McKenna's 29% return. It's a great parlay piece. You add McKenna. And Pierce. Wow, those odds are close. I mean, that doubles paying one. You're doubling your money if you play Pierce and Aaron just on the money line. So yeah, I agree. I have both. I have action on both guys. I got Pierce and Aaron on a long parlay. I'm gonna probably get fancy with it come fight week with some method of victories. So I like both of those fights. I rate Aaron McKenna high. I think he's championship material for sure. Who you got, Takara or Shota? What's up, Island Camp? We'll talk about it in a second. Was McGirt working the corner? No. Harlem Eubank does more defending and theatrics than throwing punch. Yeah, Harlem Eubank. It's boxing, man. You know, he has a cool last name, but at the end of the day, it's boxing. Popo is a 6 foot tall welterweight. He knows how to use his range. I don't. He's 35. Okay, what's Eubank? 32. Popo's hands down the better boxer. You can see it. Watch his tape. Been in there with the better guys. I think we're going to see levels. Yeah, it's first fight under Buddy. That's what I thought. Yep, Boxing Wiz knows what time it is. That's what we're talking about. I have Aaron McKenna and Pierce Lee together, so I agree with you there. I think both of those are pretty safe as long as Chamberlain hasn't added any new arsenal to deploy that we haven't seen. Yeah, the unknowns, right? Has Chamberlain changed camps? Is he linked up with a different coach? I'm not sure. I pieced together that parlay, like I said, a month ago, just on the money line. As we get closer to fight week, I'll look in more detail about the specifics of the O'Leary Chamberlain camp. And then that's when I'll generally make a decision on what method I'll go for. I like Pacheco 7-12. Yeah, all right. So you're seeing what I'm seeing too. I think people it's I talked about this in my breakdown, and it's fine. We know that in boxing commentary on social media, it's filled with casuals, it's filled with hot takes, it's filled with people who say things just to get clipped. I focus all energy in me not to do that. Nobody is 100% right, and I'm not 100% right. But the one thing that you guys could always count on me for is my takes are based on the logic that I see, right? I'm not going to throw away a 25-year-old kid who's undefeated, who's fights at super middleweight, who has this crazy good resume, who has the competitive streak in him enough to leave camps as well. That's ballsy. That shows you that this kid wants to level up. I think the fit is a good fit. And to say that I'm betting with my heart, taking Tim over Errol, that couldn't be farther from the truth. I'm a huge Errol Spence fan. Massive Errol Spence fan. Way bigger Errol Spence fan than I'm a Tim Tszyu fan. My bet, Tim, to beat him is logic. Just so we're clear on that. And if Errol wins, I will be happy for him. I'll be at that fight. I will be cheering for Errol, even though I have some stacks on Tim. I told I was telling some of my friends over the weekend a similar story. They were kind of like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You're betting, so you're cheering for your bet to lose?" I was like, "No, there'll be more bets." I was like, I do this professionally. There'll be more bets. If I can't give my take on a fight and bet with my heart, and people were part of our community expecting me to put logic. My logic is Tim is going to stop Errol based off of everything that I've been saying for the last few months. But I hope Errol wins. And if Errol does win, I will be happy for him. And if Tim wins, my bank account will be happy for me. Okay? So the longer you do this, you don't get, like, if you win, you move on. You got to have an even kill about. And if you lose, move on to the next fight. What have you done for me lately? Don't cheer your wins too long and don't sorrow your losses too long. Because if you're a fan of the sport like we are, you're going to have guys that you cheer for. And obviously, we love a comeback story. We love, the Conor McGregor story this past weekend. I told you, I was cheering for Conor, but I bet everything on Max to knock him out. I'm cheering for Errol. I'm betting the house on Tim to stop him. I know that's probably hard for some people to understand, but this happens all the time. I was not the biggest Bud Crawford fan personality-wise going into the Bud versus EJ fight. In that breakdown, I told everybody I'm a massive Errol fan. All my friends in boxing have known that for years. I followed that kid since the Olympics in 2012 when he turned over in 13. But I bet everything on Bud. We're betting money, dude. We are betting money to win money. I am never gonna risk my bank account because I like a fighter. I will bet against my favorite fighter like that. Shit, it don't matter. If I think he's gonna lose, I'll cheer for him, but I'm putting my money on the other guy. So I want to clarify that. I'm Australian because I'm betting Tim. I had to say somebody in the Discord. I'm American. I live in Australia. That's not why I'm betting Tim. I'm betting Tim because Errol Spence Jr., I don't want to talk derogatory about him, but you guys know the story. McKenna is great. I really like him. I think he's definitely McKenna's a beast. Aaron McKenna is like boxing's best kept secret. 160 pounds was sort of the shuffling that's going on in that division. The drug tests fail with Aleem, Hamza going to 68, Adamas flirting. Did he go to 68? You got Unka. You got Unk, who's like 90. How old is our boy Lara? He's like 92 now. So 160 is there for the taking. I mean, Abel Ramos, I think Jesus Ramos is supposed to fight soon. It'll be his second fight at 160. Aaron McKenna, I think 160 is going to go through a renaissance in the next few years. It seems like one of these divisions. We might see guys at 54 moving up. We might see Xander at 60 before long. So, how long Seb going to stay at 54? It wouldn't be shocking to see Myrtle Zylev move up to 60. So it's one of these divisions that it's going through kind of like the swinging door transition right now, but don't give up on it. I think Aaron McKenna right now is a dark horse there, or kind of a front runner to kind of carry that division for a while. Not gonna anyone picking Spence is most likely a fan betting with their heart, because what logic supports a 3-year layoff? Exactly. 3-year layoff. What we saw from him in his last fight at 147, it was a beatdown for 9 rounds, what he looked like. He has, since I brought these stats up last week, and I'll reshare the stats. His stats are crazy. The inactivity, that style. And I talked about this on the live stream yesterday. Even if Errol Spence never got into a car crash, that was never part of his story. Even if Errol Spence was active over the last 3 years, he loses to Bud, he goes up to 54, and he goes 4-0 at 54, and he's fighting Tim. Even all of that, let's say that was the different timeline. His style does not age well. That style looks great when you're young. A 21, 22-year-old, marauding, jab heavy, front forward, pressure, southpaw, who's a body snatcher, who takes one to give one. He's always got hit a lot, and he's always been able to, when you're younger, you could withstand somebody's best punch, and you could take it, who has the bigger dick sort of thing. This is a 35-year-old man. He's been vacationing in the Dominican. He's been in, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas for 3 years. I think he needs the money. That's what, like, in Tim Tszyu, with Tim Tszyu style, we know the coaching change with Fennec. Tszyu's not going to back up. Like, we'll see. People are like getting romantic. Errol's going to knock Tim out. That would be amazing. It'd be a great story. That'd be amazing if Errol stops Tim Tszyu and puts himself. I would. This is how I feel about the fight. I think even if Errol knocks Tim out, I think Errol should still retire. I don't think Errol should be fighting anymore. I think he should have retired after the Bud Crawford fight. I don't like the way he moves. I don't like the way he speaks. It's evident that his there's neurological damage. There's hesitation in his speech. There's pauses in his movements. It doesn't take a brilliant scientist to watch a guy moving, even if they're just shadow boxing. You're watching the movement patterns of a human to know that this person is showing evident signs of degradation. You can see it in Errol, and the fans don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it, and I do talk about it. That's why I'm getting trolled right now on my YouTube. Guys, go to the YouTube short that has like 150,000 views. I'm a small YouTuber. I get like 5,000 views on my shorts and like 500 views on my videos, which is fine. But go to this one short. All I'm doing is like, I challenge. I say, does Errol look healthy here? You don't know shit about boxing, you white boy. Like all this shit. The Errol Spence fans are out in full force. I think he should be. I don't want to see him fight again. I'm glad that I'm going to have an opportunity, though, to see one of my favorite fighters fight live before he retires. I just don't want to see him knocked out cold. Pierce O'Leary is on upset alert against James. Get him. What's up, Ali? Ali, end of the week live stream. You down? MMA only? Talk to me. Johnny, what's up? Checking in high interest. Guys, you guys are the best. JSB Insiders. We're a growing community. You guys are loyal. I'll give you everything I got, man. The one thing that I'm putting energy into this. I'm putting effort into this. I'm active. Like we're looking for our victories. We're gonna find our victories, and we might not always get it right, but at least we're gonna get you're gonna get the effort. Happy Monday in America. Happy Tuesday in Australia. We're gonna pull up these odds. Omar hasn't been on a live in forever. Omar Bradbury, where you been at? I see you in the Discord though. David Papel, Harlem Eubank this week. Going to be a good one. I'm leaning Eubank. I'm taking Papel on points. Haven't made it official yet, but I'm taking Papel on points. I'm glad you take no offense. Yeah, no, bro. We can't take offense. I just believe this is about to be a perfect storm. Arrow wins and it starts to peak at new combo what ifs. And they'll imagine. Dude, I do not want to see that, bro. That is a horrible matchup for Spence. Like, if you're an Errol Spence fan, you should actually hope that he loses to Tim and just retires rather than beat Tim and have to fight Fundora. Fundora is a freaking monster, dude. Fundora will destroy Errol Spence. He will get destroyed 100%. I do not want to see that. Even if Errol stops Tim, I hope Errol never fights again. He is so. You got to think, if you're a true Errol Spence fan, you should be thinking about what he's going to be like when he's 70. What is Errol's? If his speech is already declining and he's 35, he's 10 years younger than me at 35. Go watch the video I posted. What do you think his speech is going to be like at 55? And then 65? And then 75? You want him to go in there and fight Seb Fundora? Because each punch, you're going to lose something. Each punch, he gets punched. That's his style, to get punched. They had that fight set up before. No, they were posturing publicly. They did the face-off in the ring. That fight was never going to happen. There's no way Spence's team takes that fight. There's no way Spence's team takes that fight. Unless he's absolutely broke. And I think he needs money for him not to be getting paid that much to fly 15 hours to Sydney. This kid's flying 15 hours to Sydney to fight Tim Tszyu in front of 20,000 Australians. He's getting stopped, dude. He's getting stopped, man. I saw it happen to Tony Harrison. I was there. I was row 4 when he stopped Tony Harrison, I think in the 9th. This is very similar. Harrison had less damage. Similar age too. I think Tony might have been 34 when he came down. Perfect timing for Zoo to get Spence on his resume, by the way. Perfect. I'm smashing the knockout prop, dude. Errol's feet are bad. He's slow. He's sluggish. It's going to come down to him not being able to take a punch too. He's going to have delayed. As we get older as men, anyway, especially with fighters, you see fighters as they age themselves out, their combinations aren't as fluent and they don't throw as much because there's hesitation in the brain, in the firing, the synapses. You see this with all of our favorite fighters as they get older and they choose to fight later on in their career, they don't punch as much. The punch pattern, and it's not like them not wanting to punch, it's the ability to pull the trigger. It's a neurological issue. I will. Amari Jones going to dominate. Hard to argue with that. Hard to argue with that. Fun guy. 160 has a lot of those guys. And I would take Fundora over Spence, but I will take Spence over Zelensky. Yeah, man. I don't want to see Spence knocked out cold. Because Zoo's been stopped multiple times. We saw it, but Zoo was never out cold. This is the thing. It's not like when Manny Pacquiao got knocked out cold, or there's a difference. You take damage, you get stopped, the ref stops it, your corner throws it in. There's another thing when the chin gets checked and the lights just go out, and the lights just go out continuously, easier and easier. You see it more in MMA than you see it in boxing when guys get knocked out cold. But it's not like Zoo was out cold. You know what I'm saying? So, and then hearing stories about Errol talking about he wasn't sparring, he was injured. He blamed it all on Derek for the Bud camp. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, man. You watch the podcast. He in one sentence he said he had a rib injury, and then the very next sentence he was basically blaming it on Derek that he wasn't getting any southpaw sparring. It's like, bro, you were hurt in camp because you got injured in camp. You're blaming that on your coach. I didn't like that at all. We have some real interesting fights this weekend, but no full spreads yet or props. Yeah, I got a few. We're gonna look at the Japan fight in a second, guys. There's 40 of you guys in here because you like the video. We're gonna pull up the odds. I want to catch up with the chat. The chat's on fire. I picked Zoo over Fundora and was wrong. Prove I'm not picking over emotions. Yeah, that was one of the rare times you guys ever saw me flip flop. I flip flopped mid fight week, and I told you why. And I stopped doing this. I get a lot of people in my ear during fight week, like fighters, managers texting me, WhatsApping me, Instagramming me, Discording me, and then I'm easy to get a hold of. If you've ever messaged me, you know I'll message you back. It might take a while, but I'll always message you back. It's something that, if you take the time to reach out to me and it's constructive conversation, it's not bullshit, I'll message you back. And I got caught. That was that fight week, Fundora Zoo too. I was still kind of figuring all of this stuff out, and I was like, I let somebody talk me out of my bet, and then I publicly flip flopped, and then I changed it. I cashed out my Fundora bet and went on Zoo. Never again. So that's why I always say boots are dug in. Once I place my bet, I don't flip flop. I'm all in. I'll die on the hill. Stop Errol. Oh man, brother, I can see him being favored on points. Stop Errol though. I had Bud, but I was surprised when Bud stopped him. But you got to break Spence. He tough, bro. He's not. He's not that same guy. 1,095 days. 1,095 days since that beatdown. 1,095 days. And then, his last stoppage win, he beat Ugas in 2022, and he was getting touched up. He has a lot of damage just from the ring. I expect Zoo to be sharp. I expect Zoo to be in terms of a pace, put the pace on him. I would do exactly, I would pressure Errol right off jump. I'd make Errol fight off the back foot right off jump. See if he could take my punches. Fuck it. That's what I would do if I was Timmy. I don't trust Errol's durability at all. His gas tank, his engine. How are you going to mimic in sparring a 12-round fight, 15-hour flight, 10,000 miles away from home in front of 20,000 fans who are cheering against you. That in itself is a adrenaline dump, the energy. He did, I mean, when he fought in Sheffield, I think that was in front of like what, 4,000 people against Kell Brook, maybe 5,000 people. I don't know how big that hall was in Sheffield. They're not these massive places in the UK. That was one of my favorite Errol Spence fights. The Kudos Bank Arena, which is now called Afterpay Arena, is 21,000 capacity. That matters, man. They brought him for a reason. They chose Errol to come down here. Same with Cool Boy Steph. That's the fight no one's talking about. That's the one I'm torn on. I'm all in on Tim beating the brakes off his Errol. The one I'm torn on, I keep flipping back and forth, is Liam versus Steph. Because if you think about when the last time Fulton looked good, it was against Brandon Figueroa. And Liam Wilson has a similar kind of game plan to Brandon Figueroa in terms of what he wants to do. We know Figgy wants to just stand there in the pocket and seek out and spam his lead hook, right? He'll take it, he'll punch with you, and this is what Liam wants to do. And Fulton handled that style, and I put Figueroa above Liam Wilson. Fulton handled that perfectly. So I am kind of, even though we haven't seen Fulton look great lately, and Wilson is a guy who's super hungry, that's the fight that I feel is the most intriguing to bet on and the outcome stylistically. I'm excited to see that one live and see how it plays out. Tim said he's aiming for Spence's retina. I hate when Tim's shit talk is horrible. He has no mic game. Like he can't talk shit. So I heard that bothered me. I was like, come on, dude. That's so corny. I'm gonna aim for his retina. I wouldn't be surprised if Tim hurts his eye badly and Errol quits on us. I could see it. I could see Errol getting stopped in his corner. Give me 1 second. My beautiful other half has a pitch proposal to a big potential client, so I have to give her a little bit of motivation. See? Any healthy relationship, like my relationship with you guys, my relationship with my other half, it's dependent upon reciprocity. It can't be one-sided. I give to you, you give to me, etc. Any healthy relationship in our lives will be run on the law of reciprocity. Remember that. I'm just going to take the fight to not go the distance. It's a look. I'm just telling you what I think, and then I'm betting on. It's part of me, like I said, wants Errol to come out and look like he did in freaking when he fought Danny. Like that was fucking 2017. I think he fought Danny in 2017. Pretty insane. Just I'll fact check myself. I'm running off all memory. You know what I'm saying? So it's always good to fact check. I like getting my years right and not spewing out misinformation. We could just look it up. When did he fight DSG? 2020. Who did he fight in 2017? He fought Kell Brook in 2017. That's what I was thinking of. So he fights Kell Brook in 2017 in Sheffield. One of those scorecards had it 95-94 before he stopped Brook. And then he fought Danny Garcia in 2020, which was still 6 years ago. Ugas 2022. So since 2020, 1, 2, 3. This will be Errol's fourth fight since 2020. Tim has fought, I think, how many times has Tim fought since 2023? I think 7. Activity matters, guys. Being active 100% matters in the ring. Here's another thing nobody wants to talk about that kind of is getting overlooked. Okay, so he fought. I was at the Mendoza fight. Okay, so he fights Ocampo in June of 2023. Errol fights Bud in July of 2023. And so since Errol got the brakes beaten off of him against Bud, Tim has fought Brian Mendoza, who was coming off a knockout win over Seb Fundora, who is the champion. He lost to Fundora, that's 2 fights. He lost to Murtazaev, that's 3 fights. He beats a 19-1 Joey Spencer, stops him, that's 4 fights. He's fought 7 times. So more active. And you know, Velasquez, not the best competition. Wasn't he undefeated? Spencer 19-1, Velasquez 18-0, Dennis Nura 20-0. So I mean, make what you will of it. He's still fighting undefeated guys. They're not the best guys. They're not world-class guys. They're domestic guys. They came over to Australia. He got the job done. He got the win. So you beat, you know, at the pro level, if you're undefeated, you still don't know how to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to beat the loss out of an undefeated fighter. I don't care if they're a guy coming from France or a guy coming from Germany. So Zeus still did that. Velasquez was undefeated. Nuri was undefeated. Spencer had 1 loss. And he gets through all 3 of those guys. And then, you know, he falls short against Murtazaev, fell short against Seb Ventura twice. So I don't really believe that, like, Zoo has more durability issues than Spence, because I think a lot of people are trying to sell me on that. There's no way he does at all. It's car crash alone at all. The Bud beatdown. When is the last, like, 9 rounds of not even the fight should have been stopped 4 rounds earlier. That fight was never close. That was a criminal beatdown Bud put on him. That in itself should have been his last fight. Lara is one of my favorites. I don't know why, but I just love him. Probably because he beat Canelo and he got robbed. I think boxing fans, we tend to, we always side. Like, let me rewatch that fight. Maybe I'm speaking out of pocket. If I remember right, I do remember watching Lara versus Canelo, and I thought Lara won. Lara's world class. He's a guy who's had to change his style up the older he's gotten. You know, and in a way, he's turned into a guy who used to move around a lot to a guy who would settle, who's just settled in more and throwing heavier shots. So you gotta constantly evolve. This is another thing about Errol. Is he going to be the same old Errol? You can't. There's a trick that we play as men. This is philosophical as fuck what I'm about to say here. The biggest trick that we play on ourselves, the older we get, I know I'm like 20 years older than a lot of you boys here. At 44 years old, the biggest trick that I could ever play on myself is look at myself at 21 and try to emulate who I was at 21 now. Why is that detrimental to who I am? Because then I'll never grow, I'll never level up, I'll never evolve. This is what they mean philosophically in books of samurai, martial arts, of killing oneself. The only way to expand and grow, you have to kill your old version. You have to let the older version of yourself die. We saw this in Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor, let's say he came into that fight 100% healthy and he opens the fight up, and we'll just say under the timeline that the knee got torn on that opening exchange, that kick. If that's the case, Conor McGregor at 37 years old, 5 years out of the octagon, chose to lie to himself thinking that he was the 22-year-old version of himself. The 22-year-old version of Conor McGregor, the young athlete, the explosive athlete, the fast twitch athlete, would have done that move. The 37-year-old version, rather than choosing to evolve, rather than choosing to let his old self die and become a newer version and evolve, he lied to himself. And look what happened. Think about that. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. An example of a fighter who didn't lie to themselves, let their old self die, and then evolve. George Foreman. When Foreman lost to Ali, most people kind of, you know, forget that he loses to Ali, loses his belt, fought a couple more times, and then retired. He retires for 10 years. It's one of my favorite stats in modern boxing history. Foreman retires for 10 years, comes back, and then it takes him another 10 years to become a world champion. And he did it again later on in life, but he did it again, changing his style. Foreman, when he came back, he wasn't fighting like he did when he was younger. He wasn't looking at himself in the mirror and thinking, I'm that same guy. He didn't do what Conor McGregor did and try to do the same tricks he did when he was younger. He learned how to parry the jab. He learned how to, stay in the pocket and be way more flat, and he changed his whole style. And this is what you have to do the older you get in anything. And in combat sports, sometimes the example is clear because we get examples like this. And we just saw one with Conor. Errol Spence, if he goes into fight night and does the same exact thing that Errol Spence has always done, jab heavy, no head movement, no footwork, flat feet, trying to get inside, Tim Tszyu will stop him. Clip this. Was Errol's visa approved? Why is he not here yet? The fight goes down in a week and a half. Errol wouldn't come out to Australia a week and a half before the fight. He'll probably land. The fight's in 12 days. He'll probably fly out next week. I'm glad that he's going to read my next comments after the one he's currently reading. I read all your comments. Spence has no place in boxing anymore. Needs to retire or lose. Even worse, someone else. Tim doesn't stop him. I do not want to see Errol versus Seb Fundora at all, because I would absolutely pick Fundora over Spence. All right. Johnny, brother, I'm a Spence fan for sure, and you haven't missed with these type of takes yet, though, and nobody has turned back that clock yet. If he stops Spence, I believe definitely second half. Look, I'm just happy that I get to see Errol fight before he retires. I didn't think I'd be able to see him fight in person. PJ, the promoter, you got to start doing boxing content, mate. You got to start bringing in the lessons you're learning in our Discord over the last year and implementing it. You live in Philly, dude. You live in a fight town. What's more boxing than Philly? If I was your business manager, I would give you that advice. Somehow try to incorporate boxing into your routine. Wait, the fight is less than 2 weeks out, and Spence isn't already in Australia. That's not bueno. Well, it's not like he's going to acclimate to elevation. It's not like the fights in Mexico City where they're fighting at 50,000 feet above sea level. You know what I'm saying? Or like fighting in Denver where they're fighting 40,000 feet above sea level. Is the only thing he's going to acclimate to is the 15-hour flight. Me personally, been living here since 2013. I go home every year to America. I've probably made that flight 50 times in my life. It takes about 3 days to acclimate, for me at least, for my, all of my regulatory systems, sleep patterns, about 3 to 4 days. As long as he gets here a week in advance, he should be cool. Johnny, I'm really liking Auntie Ruiz. Me too. Auntie Ruiz, she's fighting in a rematch against Jenny Fuchs. Jenny has had 4 fights. Auntie Ruiz is 37. Jenny's 38. It might be flip-flopped. I think I'm going to play Ruiz too. What's up, Cowboy Troy? Let's go. Let's get this. Tim Tszyu just went the distance with 2 dudes I don't even know. That's fine. Both guys were undefeated. Anthony Velasquez, I agree. And then Dennis Nira, I agree. Still undefeated guys. At least he's getting 24 rounds in. That's something. He's taking guys' O's. Last time Errol was in there, he got traumatically embarrassed in front of the world. You act like he's not. That's trauma. That's good, though. It means he's ready to get back into the mix. It's what Spence should have done. Yes. SRL beat Hagler off a 3-year layout. Did he really beat Hagler, though? Come on, rewatch that fight. You think Ray really beat Hagler? Hagler won that fight. Ray didn't beat Hagler in that fight. Dude, and come on, dude. The commentators, boxing at the time, the judges, the refs, they loved Ray. Go rewatch that fight. I watched an interview of Fulton talking about his weight issue in his last fight, a bit more research and seeing how his camp is going. I think I'm going to take Fulton heavy with Tim and Charlo. Okay. I have to look into it. You're comparing a career 147-pounder and one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters. Yeah, I know. This is fresh BX, though, man. He's fresh. He's fresh to death. Tszyu is almost not Zoo is almost, but not quite a shot fighter. He can still punch, but I'm surely sure Spence is completely done at this point. Surprised to see him be a dog. Errol's the favorite. Okay, I think you're. What's up, Rag? I think you're saying if you're saying you're surprised that Timmy's the dog, I agree with you. So I smashed Zoo at plus 185 6 weeks ago. So I got Zoo 6 weeks ago on the money line at plus 185. I think he's down to plus one. He might be plus 135 now. We'll check. Yeah, Zoo's still dog at plus 120. If you guys are Zoo fans, I would smash that right now. If you guys think Tim is going to win, he is currently the dog right now on the money line. I would smash that right now because I think the closer we now, Errol does have more fans, I think, internationally due to him being an American. So maybe money will come on Errol, all the casuals. But I predict that might flip flop come fight night. I could see Errol being a slight dog come fight night. Bum Equipment, my guy. Thank you, brother. We up. Hell of a weekend, that UFC double dog. Thank you for supporting the channel, brother. I appreciate you. Yeah, UFC fed us well. That's multiple weekends in a row where we've hit we hit the dog double plus 440. We picked Paddy Pimblett and Mario Bautista on the money line. And we quadrupled our money. We also hit a UFC triple that doubled our money. The only fight we missed all weekend was I picked Lonnie Kavanaugh on the money line and he lost. Other than that, everything hit. We had a masterful weekend. I appreciate you supporting me and tipping. And if however you could help or support the cause, boys, I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Pre-Crawford fight. I would have taken Errol money line, no question. Yeah, see, I didn't. I don't know. I saw there was if you go back and watch, they did a whole like month-long thing. I think it was forget his name. It was great on both sides, Bud and Errol. And you would see Errol training in the garage with Derek. And man, he just I don't know, man. I saw that. That's why I took Bud. There's just what happens when fighters start to degrade. There's a visible like sharpness to what their game looks like that gets a little bit rounded. It's hard to explain. If I'm looking at it, it's almost like when a guy is in their prime at the peak of their abilities, it's like a sharp sword. Everything is straight. Everything is sharp as hell and straight. And as they start to degrade, as they get older, the blade gets kind of dull. And you could see it in their movements. Everything from slipping to a feint, it looks a little bit. I saw that in Errol's fight camp against Bud. He looked like he was degrading in his when he's hitting the pads, when he's running, even when he's running, doing road work and the road work videos when he's in Texas running along the road. Like he looked his joint. He looked like he was in pain with his joints. He wasn't floating. There's a certain gait that guys will have when you're running. I've been doing road work for years. I love doing road work. It's like meditation for me. And when you get into that meditative flow state, you're nothing. Your body is nothing, and you're just flowing. Even watching him in 2023 do his road work, he looked like he was laboring a bit, like his gait, how he was running. So that's what I don't expect any of that to get better. Any of that. Not taking a tune-up is insane. That's all ego. Not taking a tune-up is all ego. Ego is what ends careers. You know what I'm saying? Not taking it. That is the crazy. Like, who is advising this kid? He's only 35. You know what I mean? Who's giving him advice? How would anybody ever say, don't take a tune-up? Oh, because you once said when you were in your prime, I don't do tune-ups. So you're gonna hold true to your ego. You're gonna be that hard-nosed and stubborn over something so petty, such as taking a freaking tune-up fight. Like that makes me question a lot about that guy. Salute. You going over parlays? It's only Tuesday. We're feeling the week out. PBC let the butt fight go way too long. It reminded me of the Galalia Rodriguez fight. Bro, that was hard to watch. The Galalia fight, dude, people should go to prison for that fight. Frankie Rod should get arrested for that fight, considering he tested for that fight. If you don't know what we're talking about, this happened in the UK. Frankie Rod was like a 4-1 dog. And Frankie Rod was coming off of a fight in Texas, an 8-rounder that got overturned. It's on BoxRec because he tested positive for steroids. And like going into the 9th round, Frankie Rod's energy was better than it was in the first. And I was like, I can't wait. I said this on a live stream. I was like, I can't wait till we see this drug test. Yeah, Frankie Rod should never be allowed to fight again, by the way. Like, there's no way he should. He literally diminished Galalia career potential. And, you know, maybe I don't want to be too dramatic about it, but who knows about life expectancy. He put the fucking beat down on Galal and then tested positive for gear 2 fights in a row. Absolutely insane. How is he allowed to box? I put what Frankie Rod did against Galalia in the same category as the Tijuana, the kid from Tijuana. Damn, he was fun to watch too when he fought Cotto. Same category. Or, you know, in the early 80s with Irish, you know, was it Irish Billy Collins, the Boston kid? And his corner, he was fighting, I think, Luis Respo. And this was also Panama. Panama was his cornerman. And he wrapped it with plaster. Same thing that the kid from Tijuana did. I put what Frankie Rod did against Galal in the same category. Ban him for life for boxing. There's no play. You could already die from getting into a legal fight, and you got guys taking gear. This is why, like, it's so hard for me to like Ryan Garcia, and how, like, it's so hard for me to like Ryan Garcia because of that. UFC was lit. Didn't Tim quit in his corner? I'm not too sure if the corner stopped it. I mean, he lost. The idea of a fighter quitting is kind of a moot point because they're the fighter in the ring. I'll never use a fighter quit. This isn't Oliver McCall. That Oliver McCall quit in his corner. This isn't Mike Tyson biting Evander Holyfield's ear. Mike Tyson quit against Holyfield. Multiple times he quit. Big quitter, Mike Tyson. Hot take. Tim just they wanted Tim to wake up in the morning, man. Sometimes you got to save your fighter. Lara versus Paul Williams. Paul was one of my favorites. You were in attendance that fight, dude. People always ask me, Johnny, what's the fight that never happened that you wish would have happened? It was Paul Williams versus my boy Kelly Pavlik. It was so close to being made. They even had the face-offs and everything, and then Kelly had a shoulder injury. And then I think shortly after, Paul got into his car crash. Worst goddamn decision I ever saw in my life. Paul Williams. Yeah, Paul Williams' style was so nice, though, dude. That tall, herky-jerky in the pocket. Boom. Boom. When Paul Williams was moving, dude, he was a nightmare to deal with. Shernika Johnson. Sugar Neeks. Errol is slow. After seeing McGregor, Errol Spence is in for a bad night. Car accident, beating from Crawford. Yep, but you know, I'm growing the hair out. This hair is crazy. But you know what you could add to that list though? You know, beating from McGregor, Spence is in for a bad night. Car crash. What I would also add to that list though is his fight style. It is how he became a star by putting on these firefight performances. It's Errol, unless, you know, early on in his career, you know, he knocked out Ocampo in the first round as he was stepping up his competition. But, you know, as his competition started getting into the world level, these were late round stoppages. These were like, he left a lot of himself in there. And this is why people love him. Fighters like this is why, you know, people cheer for fighters. Like, he's so much heart. Such a fun style, a warrior. Errol Spence Jr., a real warrior. You know what I mean? We need to protect our warriors. We need to protect the legends. I think it's not shocking to say he stayed at 47 way too long. Way too long stayed at 47. So that in itself, you figure what, 30 plus weight cuts, 30 times you have to get into camp to cut down to 47. 30 times you're in these fights where you're getting hit when you're dehydrated. And then we could add the other things. And then let's add the car crashes. Then let's add the alcoholism. Then let's add the Terence Crawford beatdown. You know what I'm saying? Then let's add the 3 years in inactivity. Foreman came back with the crab shell defense he learned from Archie Moore. Archie Moore was my guy, dude. Archie Moore was a beast. Yeah, I started my YouTube channel doing OG boxing documentaries. That's how I grew a little bit. And then YouTube changed their copy. I would just farm all this old archived footage of all the OGs from the Golden Era. The Mongoose. Archie Moore, they called the Mongoose. And then I would narrate over it, telling the story, like old ESPN Classic sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden in 2022 or 2023, I opened my YouTube and my channel was demonetized for copy. And I had to start from scratch. Start from scratch. It was horrible. Worst day of my life, man. Everyone's issue is they think all their favorite fighters can be B-Hop and Foreman. Yeah, but that's what makes our sport the best sport in the world, right? Because we do have examples of B-Hop versus Foreman. I'll never forget when Bernard beat my boy Kelly. After he beat Kelly and Kelly took that fight at, a weight class above, he took it at 168. And Bernard said, you're the best in the world at 160. Stay at 160. He was like, don't let this fight destroy you. He said, if I have to come to your parents' house and get you out of bed, I will. So, B-Hop's been on record saying some derogatory stuff about white fighters in the past. But I know, deep down, I've met him a few times. He's a nice dude, and I'll never forget those words he gave to one of my childhood best friends after he beat the brakes off of him. But yeah, we've seen it before. Foreman, classic example. It could happen. It could happen. And what I want to see it happen. I hope Errol. I just don't. What are we going to expect? Errol's going to fight on his toes. Errol's going to start counterbox. Errol's going to, use the entire ring. He only knows one way. He literally knows one way. And so does Tim. I think this fight's going under. There's going to be some big shots. Hopefully no cuts. It's exciting. I don't give a shit. If you're not excited about this fight, do you watch boxing? Like, this fight is super exciting, super intriguing. There's storylines on the line here. There's legacies on the line here. Errol has an opportunity to rewrite his story. Rewrite his story. Rewrite history. That's what we're cheering for. That's not what you should be betting on, though. Big difference. That's what we're cheering for. Hell yeah, I'd love to see Errol rewind the clock and look sharp and fresh and look young. It'd give me hope as an older bloke. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm not betting on that. I'll be cheering for that. I'm not betting on that. I can't bet on that. What's up, Mike? Guys, like the video. We're approaching an hour. There's 60 of you guys in here. We're just getting cooking. If you're looking for the parlays, if you're a JSB insider, you have 5 tickets that are live. We have the Japanese fight. If you're still on it now, I'm going to tell you who I'm taking. But this is only for the hardcores. I am going to put a play. I'm going to put a ticket in on the live stream for the fights that happen in Japan. And I'm going to do it here. And I'm not going to share it in the YouTube. I'm not sharing it in the Patreon. The only people who know that I have this action are the 65 people here watching now or when it gets uploaded. And if it loses, we lose. If it hits, when I share it and you say, I didn't see that ticket, I'll tell you to go watch the live stream because 65 people watched the live stream. So we're going to go over that in a second. Give me a minute. Hagler finished very strong. You can see that it was 15 rounds. He'd stopped Leonard. With that said, Leonard was doing a damn good job stealing the end of those early rounds and some middle rounds. I got to rewatch it. I love that fight. I guess I'm a little bit biased because I was a massive Marvin Hagler fan. My dad was a massive Marvin Hagler fan. How could you not be a Ray Leonard fan as well? We're talking about the, the Four Kings era where, this was a time where coaching was at its pinnacle, talent was at its pinnacle, focus and concentration and discipline. There was no internet, there was no social media, sponsorships were limited, and you had a direct, deeper connection with your path at hand. You had a deeper connection with your coach and your handlers. Nowadays, you could see it in the craftsmanship of world champions when we have world champions who aren't technical. We have guys who are multi-division world champions who are throwing the jab wrong, or crossing their feet, exiting the pocket, or not moving their head off the midline when throwing a jab, or not entering right off of a left hook, or not clinch fighting, or not knowing how to clinch if you're hurt. Like all these little things that came along decades prior with learning the sweet science and the craft, you're seeing these little things just disappear. And I think a lot of it has to do with all the things I just said. But Hagler, Leonard, Hearns, Duran, different era, special time, unique time in history. I'm glad we have videos of it. Could you imagine if we didn't have a video of Hagler Hearns? People would say it didn't happen. They'd say it was AI. I don't have the Tim fight. 2 weeks, PJ. Be patient. I'm gonna do double dog parlays to pay to Tim. That's it, guys. We have a. I'm gonna be really, I'm gonna be working for my money in the next few weeks because there's a couple of these fights. Zepeda versus Roach has me torn. I think off jump, I think Zepeda's style is all wrong for Lamont Roach. I think Zepeda's style. Zepeda's going to swarm him. Zepeda's going to pressure him. Zepeda's longer guy. The punch output alone. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Kavanaugh single-handedly fucked up my 9-leg. Yeah, so I had Kavanaugh on one ticket. I took Kavanaugh and Max on just one ticket. Didn't go too heavy on it. I knew it was risky, though. You knew it was risky. You knew that the problem that he had with Charles Johnson, similar body type, similar sort of stature to Brandon Royval, I just didn't expect, and I know you couldn't predict this either. Brandon Royval looked amazing. We've seen him put on exceptional performances. 2020 when he bursts on the scene and who did he guillotine? He guillotined somebody where he was a 5-1 dog. We've crazy performances, but I thought those performances were behind him. That version of Royval was the best I've ever seen him. Pace, pressure, determination. He was relentless. He got hit clean multiple times and just refused to get hurt. And Kavanaugh could crack. So shout out to the Raw Dog, man. I love seeing an older guy like that, 33 years old, prove me wrong. His tune-ups, it's ridiculous. It's everything that boxing isn't. This is what I'm talking about, and this is what bothers me about Errol. And this is why it's hard for me to bet on him. And Drywater is spot on with this. A tune-up has nothing to do with your ego. A tune-up has everything to do with your craft and your work. Not your ego. You're supposed to remove ego. You're not supposed to bring your ego into a ring. You should be separate from all emotions. I don't do tune-ups. You're a freaking idiot then, man. Tim Tszyu is a tune-up. You all said the same thing about Crawford moving up to take a tune-up at 160. He beat Saul. Hot take. That's crazy. Tim Tszyu could be. What if Tim Tszyu is the tune-up? Shout out the King of Fitness. Apples and oranges, yeah. Shout out to King of Fitness. Tim Tszyu is a tune-up is a crazy. It's funny, and I actually think you got that's like a high aura comment. Tim Tszyu is the tune-up. Yeah, but Errol wouldn't say that. I guarantee Errol wouldn't say that. I think you're right. Spencer's only coming for the money. Easy couple mil. Yeah, man. Hasn't worked in 3 years. Sponsorships dry up. His wife is an influencer. I know she got expensive taste. I follow her Instagram. That's how I know. Dude, this is how deep we are as JSB insiders when we're researching fights. This was years ago. When I'm researching a 50-50 fight, I'm not just following the fighter. I know who his strength coach is. I know who his cameraman is, who's doing the videography. If you're active on there and you're sharing your girl stuff, I'm gonna follow her too, because she might be putting something in the stories about your lifestyle that you're not gonna share. Like you guys are drinking late at night, or oh, he's out again. Oh, what are they doing at this nightclub? That sort of thing. So I know that Errol's girl, influencer, expensive lifestyle. She's always posting stuff about the expensive stuff Errol buys her. I think he needs the money. And that'd be the most unfortunate outcome. If he's taking this when he shouldn't, because I think he should be retired because he needs money, I hope that's not the case. I hope he was smarter than that. This is all speculation. I made so much money off Rodriguez, man. I was happy as hell and mad when he popped. Galal was struggling against C-level journeyman, so it was easy money for me. Good eye on that. I mean, Frankie was a 4-1 dog in that fight, man. That's a good eye. Antonio Margarito, that's it. The Tijuana Tornado. I got too much in my head, boys. There's too many things going on. I knew Tijuana. Shout out to the chat. Bud and Arrow are nowhere near the same level. We got proof of that now, don't we? Have you ever talked to Kelly Pavlik about PEDs in boxing? I grew up with Kelly. I could call him right now. What do you mean have I ever talked to him about PEDs in boxing? Kelly's an old school guy. He came from an old school gym, Southside Boxing Club. Same gym I used to train at. Same coach, Jack Lowe. These guys didn't even do weight training. Kelly comes from that school of like the golden age of boxing, flipping tires, using the sledgehammer, doing road work, jumping rope, hitting the heavy bag, hitting pads, and sparring. That's it. Look at his physique. 6'2", middleweight, orthodox, nothing fancy about his work, but sharp and power. That kid could knock a donkey out. Mule strength. Shout out to the Ghost, one of the best to ever do it. Johnny, I asked a couple weeks ago, I'm leaning Zepeda by points plus 330 or money line plus 115 against Roach. Lamont's not a great mover like Shakur, and Shakur really had to throw more than usual to win. He did. No, Shakur, if anything, for all the if you were like doubting Shakur going into the Zepeda fight because of what he looked like against Edwin, after the Zepeda fight, the one thing that you would have said is like, wow, Shakur was braver than I thought. Like, I'm not saying that because I knew Shakur likes to punch with his opponents, but he did that against Zepeda. Shakur dug down. Shakur was fighting on the front foot against Zepeda. It wasn't all off the back foot. He was punching with him. And Shakur was winning that fight off of his sharp counters and his precision and his accuracy and his punch selection, his punch placement, all that good stuff, and his defensive acumen. There's so many things I could talk about Shakur from a boxing standpoint of how he neutralizes. He can neutralize a swarmer. He can neutralize a slugger. He can neutralize a counterboxer. There's a lot to say. I think Shakur, if he does get beat, it'll be the case of him moving up to get beat. Usually that's the case unless your name's Terence Crawford. Usually you will lose your O as a fighter when you're moving up divisions and you go a little bit too far when you shouldn't have gone that high. I think if Shakur would lose, it'd probably be at 47 down the road. If he does lose, who knows? I like that bet. Floyd absolutely ducked Paul when Paul was at his apex. Paul beat Margarito with the plaster. That's how good he was at his peak. Then Southpaw's like Quintana, Sergio Lara. Sergio, man, dude, the way the fight Sergio put on against Pavlik was insane. People don't talk about Sergio enough. Maravella, marvelous. And I think Sergio might have been was Sergio Martinez, was he a soccer player? He wasn't, like, boxing wasn't even his first sport. I became a fan the day he beat my friend. That's usually how it works. You got to prove it to me. You know what I mean? I became a fan of Sergio when he beat Kelly. I was shocked. I did not expect that. He had so much more skill than I was giving him credit for. He was seasoned. She didn't show up. I waited 10 minutes and emailed. Maybe too busy hopping around the bunnies. Rude. That's one of my favorite eras. Gaza. I was at Pavlik versus Zertuche in Disneyland when Zertuche, Luis Castillo was on that card, and who else was on that card? He rode in on a horse. It was in Disneyland, but Kelly knocked Zertuche out frozen in the 9th. One of the greatest. If social media would have been around then, it would have gone ultra. It would be a knockout that would keep being replayed. But let's see if we can find Kelly Pavlik, Max Zertuche. I was ringside to this fight, and this is the fight afterwards. Kelly lost, I think he got a check for 1.5 from Top Rank. He left it in the hotel. Kelly, those were like madman days of Kelly Pavlik. Wild man. And then the knockout of Pavlik, when Pavlik knocked out Edson Miranda. And I wasn't at the Miranda fight, but I was at the Jermaine Taylor fight in Atlantic City. There's kind of a delay, and this isn't the whole sequence, but he's out frozen on his feet. And Zertuche was a puncher. We were going absolutely insane. Yeah, I stopped when Kelly retired. Kelly retired when he was 29. He was in fight camp and he had a headache. And he goes to the doctor and they said he had a slight aneurysm. So he never boxed again. And I didn't watch boxing for I think 4 years. I was all MMA after Kelly retired. I was kind of burned out anyway. But that Atlantic City was insane. Or this was Disneyland. When Kelly knocked out Jermaine Taylor, it was one of my favorite moments in boxing history. Do I give Aleem any yeah. Yes. Aleem could beat Pacheco if Pacheco isn't in shape. If Pacheco switches off, Aleem will get on the front foot. Aleem's going to be there the entire time. Aleem, I don't know if Aleem has the power to hurt Pacheco. I think that if Pacheco has one of these performances that leaves you scratching your head, that he allows his opponent in Aleem to dictate the landscape of the fight, where the fight takes place, I think Aleem could beat him. I'm not playing that, though. I'm taking Pacheco to stop him. Y'all said the same stuff about water. Y'all. King of Fitness. Y'all. It's King of Fitness versus the world, baby. Him and Errol Spence versus the world. We standing on business. He got receipts, boy. Let's go. When did waterproof? Yeah, I know. He got receipts, boy. We out here. Marquez KO'd Manny at 40 years old, too. I thought that was crazy, but Errol hasn't won a fight since we were still in the COVID pandemic. 2022. His last fight was Ugas, and he was getting hit in that fight. That was not an easy fight for him. I didn't see that ticket. Haha, joking. Just on lunch break. Hope everyone. What's up, Christos? Christos, drop a like. Let's like it. Chisora win. Hagler versus Leonard. Hagler versus Leonard only being available via newspaper articles. Some black mirror dystopian type of shit. Crazy. So your logic is Wilder goes to a split against a guy with 13 losses that makes you think, oh, yeah, my boy's back. That's what he's saying, man. Royval indeed did this thing. He looked amazing. Did you watch the face-to-face with Errol and Tim? If so, what did you make of it? That happened, though, a couple weeks ago. That's the one with Errol wearing the Freddy Krueger shirt. That was when they were I think they were in Vegas, like a month ago. Tim, the tune-up zoo, let's go. Agree, I don't think it goes the distance. It's going to be a scrap. I see what you say about why you lean Tim, but do you think Errol might get the better of those exchanges? I'm not betting on it. It'd be fun if he did. Ain't no top fighter that don't. No, there isn't a man who's ever lived in the world. There isn't a bipedalist hominoid who's ever breathed oxygen on the planet in the Milky Way called Earth who doesn't have an ego. Of course, everybody has an ego. The point is, when you step foot into a ring, if you allow your ego to depict the outcome, you are going to lose. This is why they say don't fight with emotion. You want to free yourself from ego, you want to free yourself from emotion, and you just want to flow. That's my point. To say that I don't take a tune-up, that's an ego move. That's a dumb business decision. That's not good for your corporation. That's not good for your future. As a businessman, I don't take a tune-up. What are you talking about, dude? Bam is extremely humble. Humility is a great humility is a skill. A healthy Errol beats Tem. I disagree. I don't think so. I don't think he beats him 10 out of 10. Benavidez getting drunk and high and still performing optimal. You think Benavidez performing at optimal levels? We saw David Morrell drop David Benavidez, and we know what David Morrell turned out to be. We saw David Benavidez struggle at 168 before he went to light heavyweight. We saw him struggle with Vostick. We saw what Vostick just looked like against Hot Rod. You think Benavidez is performing at an optimal level? I think Benavidez is robbing us from his true potential. I think Benavidez has gears we've never seen, but because he lacks the discipline, because of his lifestyle issues, and because he loves pussy and blow, can't hate on him for it, we get this version, which is still a world champion. That's just how good he is. Dana White lost $1 million on Pavlik. Why you never break down? I don't even know you. Who you? Who is you? I ask that because most of these dudes you using, you sound like, you know, sometimes I'm sure Kelly would know at least. Maravilla Martinez started box. Yeah, late bloomer to the game and became a Hall of Famer. That is so unheard of in boxing. It happens. Unheard of. Thoughts on he should be Carmen Agarco. I like Kelly in that fight. Left the check. Look it up. Look it up. I was with him. Hellacious last 2 uppercuts from Kelly. Amazing. Team Spence, 9th round. Get your money. I went to the Ugas fight. Spence beat Ugas down. He got hit a lot. Tsutsumi versus San Juan. All right, we're going to pull it out. Benavidez not performing optimal levels. What? It's a fight you can't look perfect every second. I don't care what anybody says. I want to see Apataya knock the fuck out of Benny. Be a tough fight for both. All right, let's see. I think it'd be a tough fight for both. Benavidez is really good. So is Jai. So here's what we got tonight, boys. Kawaguchi versus Kajino. Are you playing this? You guys are playing this? We gonna leave with some. I mean, he kind of dropped him. And he got dropped against we were watching the fight. My point is he hasn't had an immaculate career. It's not like he's been pitch perfect, punch perfect. You guys like Kawaguchi or Kajino? Just so you guys know, this is an 8-rounder. This is domestic Japanese. Neither guy has a box rec photo. Just so you know, if we're betting on this, neither bloke has a box rec photo. That's what we're doing. This is what we have come to, boys. All right, so this is Kawaguchi. He's the favorite. He's 10-1-1, 5'6". This fight goes down at 135. So these are massive Japanese fighters, lightweights. You know, usually we're seeing like flyweights. Coming off a knockout loss. I think both guys are. So, a couple facts. Both guys are coming off knockout losses. It's an 8-rounder, domestic level Japanese fight. Neither guy has a box rec photo. If we want to play the dog, I studied what I could. I think his opponent Kajino, I think he's a 5'9" lightweight. And Kawaguchi's 5'6". Both just are coming off losing by knockout. (5'8.5). Kajino's 21, 5'8.5". No box rec photo, which is crazy work. That should be on all guys. We should at least have boundaries, shouldn't we? Wouldn't the easiest boundary to have if a fighter doesn't have a box rec photo, we probably shouldn't bet it? Don't you think? These guys are just getting starched. So he got knocked out against Narai. We just saw Narai last week. BoxRec is all over the shop. Yeah, so he got knocked out in November against Narai. This is an 8-rounder. Cugino's a plus 170. Are we dog hunting? Is that what we're doing here? The chat's going off. Let's go. The trip was initiated by a punch. That's still a knockdown. Yeah, it was definitely a knockdown. He talked about not taking a tune-up in the face-off. I don't agree with it, but Spence made everything sound like this was his decision. Yeah. These guys, I don't know, man. I don't know, brother. He went all 12 with Vosic, who got starched in 2 rounds. Yeah. Also won money on decides to be knocked down against Morrell, plus 350. Legendary Jackson, you're smoking opium. Jai not beat. I mean, what do you mean, man? Jai's a goddamn animal. Big, strong, could crack. That's a close fight, man. Legendary Jackson Wilden. Today, you probably thought Connor. King of Fitness is on. Boy, King of Fitness ain't here to play. We out here clowning now. The best shot Benavidez has is showing up super committed to his jab. Naked flurries. Shout out, other than that, Apataya has his own jab. Yeah, I wouldn't just say that he's just going to win. Legendary. Guys, an hour and 21 minutes. There's still 53. Are we playing this fight or not? Are you guys taking... If I'm playing it, I guess we're taking it. I don't know if I want to play this fight, guys. There's so many good fights coming up. I have a reputation to defend here. I have a reputation to hold up. Are we really betting on 8-round domestic Japanese guys who are coming off knockout losses who don't have a BoxRec photo? Is that what we're doing? Are we doing this? No BoxRec photo. Both got knocked out. It's an 8-rounder. They're Japanese domestic level fighters. We're betting on this. Is that what we're doing? Johnny, you think Benavidez beats Bivol or Arthur? Well, Arthur now, man. Did you guys just hear Bivol swerved Arthur? This came out today. Did anybody hear that? The Bivol turned down Better Beef 3? Yeah, 7 hours ago. Yeah, so Bivol now is getting accused on YouTube, on boxing Twitter, of swerving Better Beef. Bivol spurns Better Beef trilogy encounter. What do you guys make of this? I don't know why Bivol spurns Better Beef trilogy encounter. I'll read this for you. Dmitry Bivol reportedly has no interest in a trilogy fight with Better Beef, having rebuffed offers from the IBA president Umar Kremlev. The light heavyweight champion earned undisputed status in a gripping rematch against his rival in 2025, months after losing their first encounter. Yet, while hopes were initially high for a third clash, injury forced a delay in any discussions, with Bivol now seemingly keen to move on to new foes. It has left Kremlev frustrated, with the latter revealing that they have made a succession of high-paying offers in an attempt to persuade the star. And I quote, "I'm very disappointed," he told The Ring. "Everyone is waiting for this fight. I don't know why Bivol and his team are not accepting the offer. I will do my best to make this fight happen. We've been having discussions with both teams for quite a while. I can confirm that Better Beef is ready for the fight. The offer we made to Bivol for the third fight was considerably bigger than the first 2 fights. Bivol was given 2 times a bigger offer than previous fights." That's insane. So if this is true, if we believe Mr. Kremlev from the IBA, Bivol turned down double pay from what he got paid in 1 and 2 to fight this trilogy, and he said, "I'm good. Better Beef will fight for free just to make this fight happen. We made really good offers in writing, but unfortunately, Bivol's team is still waiting for something." Huh. What do you guys make of that? Do you guys think Bivol is, what are the young bucks saying? Swerving? Is Bivol swerving Better Beef? I mean, he's already in his 40s, boys. Chat popping. It's been obvious. It's been obvious that Bivol as well as Benavidez have not really wanted anything to do with Better Beef. I mean, he's a nightmare to deal with. Think about it. It's just a nightmare to deal with. It's just a stressful style to deal with. It's you get anxious. Think it like Bivol already shared the ring. Bivol looked good in the second fight. He has to think that, he kind of, he won the second fight convincingly, and he's like, why do I don't want to fight him again? I look, I understand that. He probably wants to fight another guy. You only have so many fights in your pro career. He fought the guy twice. He's an animal. But money talks. Who knows? You saying you doing a bet for the live? You got a reputation to defend. You really want to take Kajino, don't you? Are we taking the dog? And I don't trust David Shin. He got hurt against Moreau. Well, he got dropped when he was younger too. Benavidez has been dropped before. We've seen him on the canvas before Moreau. Why is his name slipping my mind? Yeah, Ronald Gavril. The Gavril fight in 2017. And he won by split decision. Like, that was a decade ago. I get it. Bivol waiting Johnny to age him out more. Bivol been getting passes. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Yeah. Look, and if anything, when you think about both guys' styles, what Bivol relies on versus what Better Beef relies on, Better Beef's style, and as we're seeing this because he's in his 40s, works better the older you get. Bivol's the one who has to rely on a lot of like movement, a lot of endurance, a lot of awkward patterns, a lot of energy expenditure. It's not really an efficient style for an aging fighter. As you age and you have that style, you get hit more and more. Roy. People keep giving Bivol passes like he's not a 40-year-old single division champion. Isn't Bivol like 30? He's not 40. 35? He's 34. Come on, guys. People giving Bivol passes like he's 34. We can't be. We got to get our facts straight here. He fought him twice already, though. As long as you know, he's only serving his swerve better even his career so far. Better Beef's 41. Yeah, I know. So Swerve Benavidez 2. Old fight took a ton out of Bivol. Great fight, by the way. Yep. Not many. Yeah, I haven't heard many people talking about it either. Guys, do you think we're gonna see? Do you think we're gonna see Bud back? Do you think we're gonna see Crawford back? We'll talk about this on Thursday, Mike. I know. I like JBL. JPL comes from a good camp. Very talented, skilled. I've been hearing rumblings that Crawford's thinking about taking another fight. Did you guys hear anything? One being he doesn't have to address how he's moving right now. An American fighter, particularly for the most part, would be getting grilled for this. Let's not forget Bivol coming off back surgery too in his last fight recently. Better Beef won. You thought Better Beef won the second fight? Come on. I thought the second. Maybe I have to rewatch it. I thought when I was watching the second fight, it was clear Better Beef was winning those rounds late, and it was clear optics. It was one. I mean, it was one of the only times I've ever seen Better Beef frustrated. The last half of that fight against Bivol the second time, his body language during the rounds, he was looking like it was like a mix of annoyed and then frustrated, and we never see that in Better Beef. He's usually like a zombie. I thought the second one was clearly a Bivol win. Maybe I have to rewatch it. American fighters tend to have a long track record of buffoonery over ducking fighters not playing ball to make fights happen. Fighters cut from the cloth of Bivol might have one asterisk. Wow. I don't. He's only 34. He's younger than Errol. Wasn't Bud 37 when he fought Canelo? But like, Bud's such a different beast. This is a guy who doesn't drink. Perfect example of, and then look at all the injuries Conor McGregor has had in his career, even dating back to 2013 when he first fought Max Holloway. In that first Max Holloway fight, he tore his ACL in that fight against Max in 2013. Then he's had a slew of injuries. The ankle, the knee, the leg break, the toe when he was in camp for Chandler, and now this, the knee again. This, alcoholism and living a drug-induced lifestyle, it does that to the body, man. It ages you. And then you look at a Bud Crawford who pretty much lived like a samurai in a monastery, looking schmick, just good, ready to rock and roll. May that be a lesson to you young bucks out there. Take care of yourself. Want to see Bud? I don't want to see Bud versus Boots. You want to see Bud versus Boots? I don't want to see that fight. Let Bud stay retired. Let Boots get his licks in with the young bucks. Let Boots fight Jay. I want to see Bud versus. I want to see Boots versus Josh Kelly. I want to see Boots versus Seb. I want to see Boots versus Virgil. I want to see Boots versus Murtazaev, which I know will never happen. Let me see what Boots would do to Murtazaev. How he would handle that guy. It was both close, in my opinion. I had him winning. I'll rewatch it. Better Beef won 8-4 on my card that night. Bivol noticeably pushed forward more and fought Better Beef back a lot. It seemed like Better Beef started a little too early in the second fight. Do you think Better Beef beats Canelo? Yes, I do. I think Better Beef, even right now, I think Better Beef is a monster. I don't think anyone is putting their hand up to fight Artur Better Beef. I don't think Canelo would ever fight Artur Better Beef. I mean, shout out to Canelo for fighting Billy. I mean, and Billy doesn't have one-punch knockout power, and Canelo obviously thinks that he has the skills to not get hurt. But Billy is kind of a lot to deal with in terms of like his style, his output, his pace, his size. Shout out to Canelo for taking that fight. It's so easy for us as fans to talk trash about our fighters. It sucks, and that starts from the top down. And I blame that on like the commentators such as like Max Kellerman and guys at the top who have these massive followings for years on the record calling fighters bums. And like, dude, Canelo, you need to look at what he's done for his life as a man. This is how I look at fighters. You can look at fight to fight and break him down and be particular about his performances and then break down his matchmaking and then talk about who moved their career, whatever. Or you could look at him as the man and be like, this kid was born where he came from, poor, with one of many siblings in Mexico in a village, to see where he's at. If that doesn't inspire you, what are we doing? This is boxing. You know what I'm saying? So when I think of Canelo, that's what I think of. I don't think of like, fucking who he chose to fight or, who, Bud beating him. I think about what he has done as a human. That's inspiring. Leveling up, learning a skill, being disciplined, marrying himself to the game, being focused, overcoming adversity, leveling up, putting himself out there, sacrificing for decades, putting himself vulnerable in one of the toughest sports in the world. This is, when I look at fighters, this is what I'm looking at. All that said, the dude has a jet, and he doesn't need to fight. Golf. Go golf. And you're choosing to fight Christian and Billy. Shout out to Canelo, man. I mean, shout out to Canelo. He's only, 34, 35? Not that old. Still wants to fight. It's in you. When it's in you, it never leaves. That's the thing. It's never going to leave. It never leaves you. It's not like, he's at the downside of his prime. This is why fighters always come back. Fighters will be 70 and it's in them. So you want to leave boxing before boxing leaves you. You don't want boxing to ever retire you. You want to retire from boxing. Kelly Pavlik retires at 29. Boom Boom Mancini, I think Ray retired at 29 or 30. maybe 28. Youngstown, Ohio, we produce great world champions. These are prime examples of guys getting out at the right time. Ray has all of his faculties. He still does broadcasting. Kelly, perfect. You wouldn't even know he took any damage in his fights. All of his faculties, doing great in his life. It's not cool to watch our fighters age and stay too long. Like watching Roy get knocked out the ring, dude. I'm not here for that. You know what I'm saying? It's not good. It's not good for our sport. Better Beef would seriously hurt Canelo. I feel like a fool for ever thinking Canelo could fight Better Beef. Then Canelo versus Bivol happened. McGregor said they offered Crawford $200 million for a 2-fight deal, one boxing and one MMA, and he turned it down. It's not true. I found a video. I brought this up on a live stream a couple months ago. Somebody sent me a clip. McGregor was capping. Wasn't true at all. There's 2 fights, bro. Are we really taking Cagino at plus 170? Youngin. They don't have box rec photos. They both got knocked out in their last fight. An 8-round domestic Japanese fight is on tonight in 5 hours. If I were to do anything, I would take the dog at plus 170. That's my play. Cagino at plus 170. I'll do it. All right, you know what? You guys talk me into it. I'm going to do it. My reputation's on the line, Fresh BX. Okay. This is my play. This is a straight D-Gen play. If we hit, I don't want any credit. And if we lose, you could clown me. That's how this works anyway. All right, I'm taking Cagino at plus 170. Half unit. Now we got something to watch tonight. Half unit. 3-inch height advantage. 3 years younger. I'll give you some reasons. 3-inch height advantage. 3 years younger. 5 out of his 6 wins come by knockout. They're both coming off knockout losses. I think he's going to use his range. They're going to fight in the pocket the entire time. We know how this works. I'm going to take the guy with the range, the longer reach. They're going to hook with each other. Don't hook with the hooker. Cagino money line 170 with dog hunt. Let's go. Bivol showed legendary resilience in the second fight. Arthur was frustrated, like you said, Johnny, but he does seem motivated. Nobody's putting their hand up to fight Better Beef right now. He's already dangerous. You could just throw out his age. This guy seems like he's like, look at his shape he's in. Like, I'm flexing because, I'm in good shape, but like he's 41, his shoulders, he's always in the gym. Follow his Instagram. This dude is determined. There's nobody in that division. Like, I'll fight him. I want that guy. He doesn't have a massive following. He's not, English isn't his first language. So the marketability in North America, he's not going to sell out a Vegas arena. The hardcores know about Arthur Better Beef, but who wants to fight that guy? That's why I'm like, shout out to Jalil Hackett, because Jalil Hackett's fighting Sergey Derevyanchenko, who's not as scary as Arthur Better Beef, but he's still a guy that nobody's saying, I want to fight that guy. Derevyanchenko, 16-6, far from perfect record, never been stomped. You're going to be in a dogfight when you fight Derevyanchenko. No one's putting their hand up to fight him. Shout out to the 23-year-old for putting his hand up. That's a great fight coming up no one's talking about. And no one, for damn sure, is putting their hand up to fight Better Beef. Boots has Virgil Ortiz and Fedora problem first. 100%. Better Beef 8-4 first fight. I kind of agree with this scorecard. But Fresh BX, I think he's talked me into just rewatching the second one. I thought the second one, Bivol had easier work. It looked like he had less stressful work to do. The optics of that fight, how he was moving in the ring, he was way less stressed. He had him figured out. Johnny, more news coming out of Mexico. ESPN saying Canelo is not in camp yet. I knew that he was waiting for the World Cup to end because of everything going on in Mexico City, right? The World Cup. The fight's in October now, right? It got pushed back. I'm not exactly sure. Why hasn't Bivol done any interviews about the trilogy? He doesn't want it. 100%. 100%. Crazy. If you read his timeline from what it started like when he was walking, when he learned to walk, to what it looks like now, you'd be like, that didn't happen. That's why our sport's the greatest sport, because boxing creates these stories. You don't have to be, you don't have to, we don't even have to speak our favorite fighter's language. Think about that. That's something that doesn't get spoken about enough. Boxing is such a beautiful sport to where we cheer for guys we don't even speak the same language is more or less than our favorite fighters sometimes, and we still cheer because boxing, it's not about that. It's way deeper than that. It's something way more esoteric than the words or noises that come out of our mouth. I don't really care about the trilogy happening. Yeah, so I think we've come to an agreement, boys. No one really wants that trilogy. I think Stephen Butler, dude, if Stephen Butler beats Berlanga, Eddie needs to just hang him up. Because, look, Bang Butler has won us money over the last 18 months. Bang Butler is a domestic Edgar Berlanga. That shouldn't be controversial. Bang Butler is going to stand right there and not move and punch with you. Fun as hell. Fun as hell. And this version of Bang Butler is the best he's ever been. If Eddie can't beat Butler, he needs to just hang him up. Because this style matchup is tailor-made for him, believe it or not. He's going to be in there with a guy who's not going to have to worry about running down. He's not going to have to worry about chasing. And he's going to punch with him. Eddie should be... Eddie by knockout. I'm not going to overthink it. Canelo versus Cotto was underrated. He gets hate, but he fought Shane Mosley at 21, Floyd at 23. Not my top 5 Mexicans of all time. Not your top 5 Mexicans of all time, though. Top 10. I mean, top 5 Mexicans, obviously. Salvador Sanchez, Ricardo Finito Lopez, Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, Eric Morales. Don't sleep. For me. Damn, he was in some fun fights. Canelo's in my top 5. I think that's probably, without even overthinking it, that's probably my top 5. Sal Sanchez, Ricardo Lopez, Julio Cesar Chavez, Eric Morales, and Canelo. No particular order. So when young Floyd on his come up, you definitely have to respect him. Yes. But the difference with young Floyd, though, is Floyd came from a boxing family. Now, the struggles were there. He came from a very tough neighborhood, Detroit. That's where he came from, the D. And we know about the trials and tribulations of his pops. But he came from a fighting family with champions in the pedigree. He was game bred. This is what the term game bred means. When they're breeding fight dogs, game bred is you were bred from a fight dog. Floyd was game bred from the time he could walk. Canelo didn't have that. I think that's a big difference. I know, bro. I know. AB's locked in. I'm so excited for him. I'm so stoked to see what he makes of this. What I'm only sad about him stop drinking is that we don't have our AB. Oh, we could keep the AB memes up. It's just they look different now. Because only if you're in the Discord, you'll know what I'm talking about. We up. Let's go. 100%, man. Shout out to AB. If Charlo can't beat Colin Mousendare, we're all in trouble. If Big Charlo can't beat Colin Mousendare, we're all in trouble. No shade to Cohen. Cohen's going to be tough, but Colin Mousendare is a C-level domestic guy in Australia who wasn't able to navigate the domestic waters. You know what I'm saying? If Big Charlo can't beat Cohen, we're all in trouble. I'm just going to leave it at that. AB cutting the drinking and turning into a coach, opening his own gym. Bro, I'm so stoked for AB, especially him being an Ohio boy. Floyd beat Angleman Freddy. Yeah, dude, people forget. That's another sad one for me. I was a big El Diablo fan. when Angel Manfredi beat the brakes off of Arturo Gatti. Manfredi was one of my favorite fighters. Have you seen Manfredi now, though? Angel is only 52. He can't even speak. It's so heartbreaking. I won't even pull it up. Angel Manfredi, ugh, he was Friday Night Fights legend. He was top rank on ESPN legend when I was coming up. I remember watching him when I was in high school, coming in with he had the mask on, El Diablo. Damn, what a fan-friendly style, dude. If you don't know who Angel Manfredi is, you better do your homework. The way he beat Arturo Gatti was so impressive. Dude, just came on. If you covered, are you taking Eubank or Popo? I'm taking Popo on points. I'll try to bring it up without getting too sad. I'll show you. Brain damage from fighting. I spelled it wrong. Well, this is like 3 years ago. So there's a so that's from 7 years ago. So there's a page on Facebook called Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame. So I have a group on Facebook with like 40,000 people. Johnny Says Boxing. And Indiana Boxing Hall of Fame shared a video of this past Hall of Fame dinner in Indiana, and it was like all the boys with James Toney was there, Pavlik was there, Shane was there, Manfredi was there, and they're at a table, and he can't even speak. It was hard to watch. All right, this is 8 weeks ago. So that's Ray. It was from this dinner, but we're not getting video. He looks good, but he can't speak. It's not good. It's sad. It's sad, and nobody talks about it because it's the dark secret of our sport. Big Charlo's fighting. Jamal. Maul, not Mel. Maul's fighting. If Maul can't beat Cohen, we're all in trouble. No, I say that, and then I have to. No shade to Cohen, but come on, man, you're not even in the same class. So if that the one who taught about fighting boots, or the one who got slapped by Caleb. All right, guys, I've been on almost 2 hours. I have to get ready for another client. Check out my breakdown, prediction, and analysis of Diego Pacheco versus Immanuwel Aleem. That's up on the channel. I'm going to be doing more of these videos. I go live every day. Hopefully you learned something today. I appreciate it. There's 58 of you in here. Like the video, subscribe, join our, become part of our very famous Johnny Says Boxing VIP professional betting academy. I'll see you guys soon. The best.